Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger and my friends. It is time for the big Street Fighter 6 balance patch, where every single character in the game has one change or another. Now, to be real, are the top tiers still the top tiers? Kinda, yeah. Not to say that there's not some interesting changes in this patch, but a lot of the interesting changes are for the lesser characters of the game that give them something just a little bit nicer to work with. But the overall tier balance, I don't think will be shifting. We do have Ingrid coming up, which will be the beginning of Season 4, and we all hope it's the beginning of Super Street Fighter 6, with some more radical changes to come. But still, again, everyone has some changes or another, and some of these can change the way the characters play. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through every single character in the game. And of course, there'll be timestamps. Leave a like for timestamps, please. This video takes a very long time to make. And I would appreciate the like because it really helps the video. But yeah, so skip forward to the timestamps for the character that makes sense for you. We'll be covering everyone. Although there is some universal changes I want to go over first because they are somewhat important. So one of them is just 2 wake up attacks, and this is for everyone. This is just a universal change. So you get knocked down and say you want to wake up with your big reversal attack, right? They just made that easier. This is now the second time they've changed this. So when you get knocked down and you input like whatever reversal you're trying to input, there's now an additional buffer of 3 more frames to whatever move you're going to do. So it's basically almost impossible now to whiff whatever move you're trying to do on wake up. If you had trouble with it before, now it's just all the more easy and lenient yet. Now, another change is to overheads, and specifically drive rush overheads, although for some characters it's just overheads in general. So have a look at Chun Li here. So Chun Li, if her overhead was say to be blocked, it's now -3. It used to be -2, it's now -3. And this is for quite a few characters: Ryu, Chun, Aki, Akuma, Terry, Elena, Sagat. They used to have different frame data, but they're now all -3. So now they're all universally +1 on block if they get blocked. This is to make just drive rush overhead a little less overwhelming. And for basically every character I did not already mention that has some kind of overhead, like they are already -3, what happened here is that the pushback has been increased on block. So say, in this case here, we have Rashid, right? The old drive rush overhead. If you have a look here in the older build of the game, he would be able to throw you right after the fact. And now, here we are, and he will not be able to touch you. He is not in throw range. And this is the case here for Luke, Jamie, Kimberly, Marisa, Lily, JP, Juri, Honda, Blanka, Guile, Rashid, Bison, Terry, Mai, Sagat, Viper. For all these characters, their overhead now pushes you further back. So off a drive rush overhead, they don't necessarily have the ability to throw you right away. Although defensively, the pushback also works even without the drive rush. So you, the defensive player that just got your attack blocked, also cannot be thrown right away, right? But it's all in the purview of, for no matter which of the 2 changes, either more negative on block or less positive on hit after a drive rush, or just more pushback, just to make overheads a little less overwhelming. And there's a couple other like bug fixy kind of things. They'll all be in the patch notes if you want to check the whole thing out yourself. It's all in the video description. Check that out. But now let's get to the character specifics. And again, we got a lot of them. We got timestamps. Leave a like for timestamps. And let's dig in. Okay, now, so in this house, we start with Ryu. So I mentioned at the beginning of the video, hey, are the top tiers still the top tiers? Yeah, for the most part. Ryu, like many of the better characters, they got some nerfs, yes, also some buffs. But don't expect their relative power to just fall off a cliff. But we got some stuff here. So Solar Plexus Strike, Forward Heavy Punch. One of the buffs it got earlier in the game's lifespan has been reverted. So don't get me wrong, it's still very advantage on block. If you block this here, you're losing a good amount of drive gauge and Ryu's in a very advantageous situation, right? But one of the buffs it got was it jailed you if you were anywhere near it. Meaning if you were in walking distance, I should be showing the footage here. If you were in walking distance of it all, and if it could hit you, it immediately stopped you from walking backwards. That is no longer the case. Now you are allowed to walk out of range. Like, even if you would have got hit before, it would like freeze you up. Now it won't. It actually kind of has to connect. If it doesn't connect, then you can just walk out of it, which is definitely, I would say, a sizable nerf to Ryu, because he can use this like a sledgehammer, right? Because he could control your movement with it. Now, if you are looking to, dominate neutral, it's still useful. But if you're looking to get people who can walk back and forth, this won't stop them dead in their tracks anymore. And you might have to look towards other moves. Another nerf here, and you're going to find this for quite a few characters. Moves that are used in neutral will have more whiff recovery. So this now has 13 frames of whiff recovery. A stand medium punch used to be 11 frames. Now, before this, there was some gas leaks of some things that may have been true, may have been not true about the patch. Some of them are true and in this video, but one was Ryu's fireball damage got nerfed. That is not the case, by the way. It is still the same as it ever was. Don't worry though, Ryu also got some buffs. So his stand, heavy punch, heavy kick, target combo, which is not used too often. Now the blowback, aka the knockback, has been changed. So they're a little bit higher up, meaning he has more advantage now. So it used to be 36 frames of advantage, is now 39. And this changes a few things. One, if you just do it in the corner, you can now get a medium or enhanced Shoryuken. This did not work before. So at bare minimum, this is a new combo route. Also, this was cancelable into Denjin. And now if you do Denjin into this, it is now plus 10 frames of advantage. Before it would have been plus 7. So with this new setup, since it's plus 10, you can go say for stand medium kick, hit meaty, making it plus 5, which will now link into stand light kick. And you can just kind of get a whole new scenario that you couldn't get before. So there is options. Or you can use the new combo routing to create frame kill setups, like say a fireball that's plus 5 on hit, which can then link into your jabs. So there's stuff here. Another change is light Hashogeki. This is a pain point for a lot of people. So one, it now has its guard gauge, his drive gauge damage, cut in half. So he is less likely to burn you out just going kind of wild with this stuff. Also, it now pushes back a good deal more when the opponent is in burnout. So like the old burnout loops with light Hashogeki, it's not unusable, but you can't keep it up for as long as you could before. So that was definitely a stronger aspect of the character, and that's been toned down a bit. But that's about it. So some small nerfs. They got a new option with the target combo. Ryu is still really good. Now for Luke, one basic change here is stand heavy punch. So stand heavy punch now has a little bit better recovery on block. It is now -5 instead of -6. And that means if you hit it in the later active frames, those numbers also just get progressively better yet. So if you space it out correctly, you might save yourself from some punishes from some characters, and just doing the move into various special moves now makes tighter, not necessarily airtight, but tighter block strings. Now, one really interesting change is light knuckle. So they changed it up in one way in that the knockdown's better. So it's now plus 36 on knockdown instead of plus 32, and they changed the blowback effect. So say you do it in a combo, the enemy's just a smidge closer to you. Hopefully I'm comparing with the older footage. And on top of that, you now get new routing to pressure the opponent. Like, say I knock you down here, do DR whiff jab, I'm now just plus 3 in front of your face. So it's effectively a guess throw, guess strike kind of thing. Also, because they changed how the blowback works, that is now a combo starter. So before you could not get, say, like a light Shoryuken off of this, now you can. So just more damage in corner situations if you happen to be starting from lights, which is always nice and welcome. And more options as well, just because we're going to mention here forward heavy punch. So you can just dash forward and just meaty time it, and it comes plus 5 on hit. Normally it's plus 3, but since it's meaty, it's plus 5, which means you can hit various normals and get a combo after the fact. So now forward heavy punch, they changed it. So now if it hits as a punish counter, both hits are punish counters, and the second hit now leaves the opponent grounded. Whereas before, it would pop them up. And like, yeah, you can get a small follow-up off the pop-up, sure, but now because they're grounded, you get more options. And that is charge, medium, flash knuckle, you can get the wall bounce now. So that's a 4-hit combo, right? So new routes, new opportunities are opening up for Luke. And speaking of new opportunities, heavy charge flash knuckle, the one that's plus on block. now leaves you significantly closer to the enemy on block. So here we are, we're going to overlay with the older version of the game here. And you can see the character is a good deal closer. So now you can make a lot more use of those advantage frames. So now, okay, threaten strike or threaten throw, right? This is kind of the essence of Street Fighter 6, just kind of how it works, right? And now, since they're closer, you can just make it all the more threatening yet. So Luke, Luke's never been bad, right? But he could use a little buffs, and these are little buffs. These aren't big buffs. They're playing it safe for now, hopefully more in the future, but they're interesting changes. So Chun, another character that's perfectly all right, and most of the changes are pretty small, although they did give her just a sledgehammer randomly out of nowhere. But first, we'll build up to it, right? So first, stance, medium punch, the slide. They made it just a little bit faster, and now, if you go say stand heavy punch, it is a natural combo from stand heavy punch. So heavy punch, stance into the medium slide, just natural 2-hit combo. You don't need a counter hit, you don't need anything fancy. It just works in and of itself. And also leaves you closer on hit. So it gives a 21 frame knockdown. And for Chun, that's kind of a magic number because she has a 19 frame dash. So since it's closer on hit, you just dash, you're in their face. Make the magic work. Now don't confuse this. It is still death on block. You gotta mean it. You gotta want it, right? But it's just a natural combo now. Also for stance light kick reaches very slightly further. So one of the things about stance light kick is, say again, off stand heavy punch. If stand heavy punch hits as a counter hit, it's a natural combo as long as it's a counter hit or better, right? So say you're hitting from maximum range, it's just that much easier to go into stance, go into light kick, and then get like a bird kick or whatever you want to get. One small change, it's a nice change, EX legs. So EX legs, the follow-up, no longer scales. So basically, you just do more damage if you want to do the follow-up for EX legs. And compared to the older version of the game, this is now 1700. So it nets you about 150 extra damage. So it just does more damage. Lots to love there. So now here's the sledgehammer change. Chun's always had like better neutral than most characters, right? She doesn't have many gimmicks, but between like her Kikokens, her gigantic normals, crouch medium kick and drive rush, like she had good neutral. And they're like, what if she had even better neutral than she already has? So enter light Hazanshu. That's the axe kick here. So they changed a lot. One, it does less damage. Oh, that's a nerf. Well, fairly so. It does less damage. Also, you might notice it just splats the enemy now, right? So if it splats the enemy, it's just a knockdown. It's a recoverable knockdown, but it's always plus 21. So it hits, dash forward, same Oki as before, plus 2, guess strike, guess throw. And here's the big thing. So it does less damage, it has less range, but it is much safer on block now. So it's only -5 on block now. And also it pushes back the enemy a bit on block. Before, if this got blocked at all, you're dead. End of story. Now, 5 frames? I don't know. Who's punishing that other than maybe another Chun Li? Like maybe another Chun Li could punish that. Everyone else in the cast, they're a little lacking. They just can't touch her, right? So now she has a giant long range, mostly safe if you space it overhead, that splats and gives great Oki. So just add this to the pile of even stronger neutral options, because this is effectively her scissors kick now. She can just kind of just do this, and as long as she spaces it, what are you going to do about it? It's 23 frame startup. The first few frames are not the easiest to see, so it's not like you're going to parry it on reaction like to any reliable degree. So basically, on top of like the million options she already has, it's just another thing for you to worry about. And again, it's still an overhead. You have to stand block it. If you're just crouching, get splatted. So for Chun Li, a couple of nice quality of life changes, and then one move that basically just came like a new move, if you will, because its purpose has been completely redone and for the better. And if you're still going to go over like projectiles and all that, you still have like heavy, medium, EX. Because the other nerf is the light version no longer goes through projectiles, because that'd be a little too much. But yeah, so you still have the utility of the other moves, and then light has a whole new lease on life. So Kimberly basically only has one change, although it's a really interesting change, and it has to do off her teleport. So any move done off the teleport now effectively counts like, say it was a move done off a drive rush, in that it increases the juggle value of the move. So here we are in the older build of the game. If I go for teleport, crouch, heavy punch, they just flip out. In the current build of the game, they don't flip out. you have more juggle opportunities still yet. So I can teleport elbow and then still keep juggling. Now rest assured, I am no Kimberly main. But the fact you can literally just juggle more and just invent new juggles where you couldn't before, that seems pretty good to me, right? Since I'm no Kimberly main, I don't got a million good examples for you. I'm sorry, please hit the training mode. But just you have a lot more combo freedom. And again, it's like a drive rush, except you don't need to spend the drive rush bar. Every time you do a normal off the teleport, it just has the same juggle properties that it would like off a drive rush. So go out there and invent a lot of new combos because I think there's going to be a lot of cool things for you. Now, Ken didn't get a lot, but it's certainly better than nothing. One of them is just stand medium kick. So they removed the scaling from stand medium kick. So the target combo just does more damage. Not a lot more, but it's about 100-ish more damage than it did before. That's nice. Also, stand medium kick by itself is now super cancelable. So it was not super cancelable before, and now you can cancel on all your various supers. So there may be some more combo routing available. Test that one out. Crouch heavy punch now is a bit better on block. And this specifically means, so if you go crouch heavy punch into, say, heavy Jinrai, there's still a gap. But now if you do it and say the opponent tries to DI, then you'll have time to DI them back. So one of the big weaknesses here of this was the DI. And now you just barely recover in time to DI them back. How about Jinrai? Old man Ken and his cryptocurrency and his Jinrai kicks, right? So the light kick Jinrai, the little low one there, since it got pretty heavily nerfed not too long ago, they decided to give it a little taste of something here. So now it does 100 more damage. And the punish counter knockdown that they added to it now has a longer knockdown. So it's 4 more frames. So now it's 32 frames of advantage. So at minimum, just to invent some new Uki on the spot here, since you're plus 32, you can withstand medium kick that's 30 frames. It has a forward advancing property to it. And then all of a sudden, hey, boom, you're plus 2 in the face, strike throw, right? That's something. Also, they changed his level 2 super. So now if it hits specifically as a punish counter, it's going to do a lot more damage. The idea is, since it's 6 frame startup, they kind of wanted you to use this as a punish in and of itself. Now there's a lot more value to it. So 2800 normally. And now if it hits as a punish, it's going to do a lot. It's going to do 3,360. That's not some small buff, right? That's over 500 more damage. So if that was something you were thinking about, you're now much more incentivized to do it. And the other big buff for him is specifically here, EX Jinrai, the forward heavy kick follow-up, now has 6 active frames up from 3. So in moves where it could be pretty easy to drop because the timing would be very strict, now it's just that much more easier. So you're like target combo, EX Jinrai, get the follow-up, and then just go for like run uppercut or something, right? Those kind of combos could be possible in other situations before, but now they're just a lot more reliable because the active frames are doubled. So you don't have to like really stress the element of manual timing as much. So for Ken, it's mostly real solid quality of life buffs. So Jamie, well, Jamie, he could have used more, I'm not gonna lie. But we'll file him under take what you can get and smile because Jamie never gets as much as he needs, but let's talk about it. So 1, crouch light kick. It's now plus 3 on hit, which means if it were to somehow happen, it'll now naturally combo on punish counter into crouch medium kick. Crouch medium kick now naturally will combo into EX breakdance. They changed how it works with faster startup. So now it'll combo in situations like crouch medium kick that it would not combo from before. And stand heavy punch, which is very useful in a lot of ways, not the least of which is for juggles. So now they made it better for juggles. Specifically, the final hit pops people up a lot more in juggle combos than it did before. So I'm going to show you some examples here, but there was combo routes before where either it could be very difficult to get the timing right, and maybe it wasn't even worth it, or just flat out in certain scenarios where if you're too close, you couldn't get the juggle no matter what. And now that has changed. Now, for a lot of these styles of juggles, it just works a lot more reliably because it pops them up higher. Like say EX dive kick. If you did it right on top of their head, you could still get the heavy punch afterwards, but something like your level 1 super would just whiff every time. So you always had to kind of baby the spacing. Now you can just slop it out. Like, it's just so much more reliable. It's just so much better in a lot of ways. So Jamie didn't get a lot, but he got a few new situations. Like, again, new ways to combo in DX breakdance. That's not too bad. And just reliability on his juggles. Like, you don't got to be scared you're going to drop it partway through because the juggle is now higher off heavy punch. And that, I think, is worth its weight in gold. Now, Zangief. These are definitely the changes everyone was asking for. I can't even keep a straight face saying that. Okay, let's just get into it. Down forward heavy kick. Now has a better hurt box, so it can better kind of crush lows going over it. And specifically in certain nightmare matchups. Like, say, versus Dhalsim, he can use it to kind of reliably crush stuff like his stand heavy punch. And then just send him on his way, right? The hurt box is just much better against anything even like mildly low to the ground. And that is not nothing. That's not nothing. And then we have the EX Lariat change. So now EX Lariat will hit all the hits even on someone who is crouching. So this doesn't mean much in and of itself. But if the opponent is in burnout, that last hit does a good amount of chip damage. So if you're just looking for like a burnout chip kill, it is now better at that. And as long as you aim it correctly, you probably, hopefully, won't be punished. But that really depends on the character you're fighting. Old Dhalsim, he's still going to hit you. But yeah, it's something, I guess. I'm just going to talk a little bit just to make this section a little bit longer. Just so it makes it look like if you're skipping ahead, I actually talked about something or anything. Because if you're a Zangief main, this is not what you hope for. But hey, in-grid patch, that's where all the big Zangief changes are, right? Hold out hope for that. Now, Marisa got some very strong quality of life buffs. Like, I don't think it's enough to catapult her up the tier list. But if you play this character, I think you're going to appreciate them. Although, let's start with the nerf. So, stand heavy kick. This is like one of the best whiff punch buttons in the game. Like, maybe she wasn't the best character, but other people would kill for this move, right? So it's just been changed that the hurt box is out there more. Just because if you're using your whiff punish move too crazily, you yourself should get whiff punished as well. And I think that's perfectly fair. Now, on to the buffs. So big one, crouch medium kick is now naturally 5 frames advantage. So this used to be +3. And this means a lot of things. Like, naturally, since it's +5, hey, now can go like crouch jab, normal combo, doesn't need counter hit or anything like that. Just a combo starter in and of itself. Now, one of the main uses for it is off a drive rush, right? That was one of the changes from the previous patch, is you want to use that more than just like, say, stand heavy punch because of the various parry changes. So great, and now that means off a drive rush, it's +9. This is where we'll mention forward medium punch, the target combo starter, also became 1 frame faster. It is now 9 frames of startup. So this means that crouch medium kick off a drive rush will naturally link into this. And then, oh, we're getting some tasty damage. And keep in mind as well here, the various target combos from this are super cancelable. So now off a random DR crouch medium kick, you can get a pretty okay taste of damage, right? Just for 1 bar. That's not nothing. Or if you're so inclined, you can use the knockdown option, and that has a lot of frame advantage. Or again, hey, we're 9 frames. So before it used to be 7, right? You know what's 8 frames? Back heavy punch. So if you're a little further out, the target combo, fantastic. But if you happen to be a little closer, well then, we're cooking with gas now, aren't we? And this has a lot of effects on a lot of things besides just like the patently obvious. Like, hey, new frame kill setups. Now that's +7, right? You know what 7 frames? Stand medium punch is 7 frames. And off stand medium punch, we get the same kind of frame kill actually. So we can just kind of loop this into itself kind of forever, right? So like, it cascades a lot. Just the numbers a little bigger, but you get a lot of value off this other than just the numbers a little bigger in a lot of situations. Now, keeping that in mind here, phalanxes are now all more advantage on block. Your big old Superman punch, right? They're all more advantage on block, which is great because it's your big bully move. And heck, the enhanced version's even more, so now it's +4 on block. And in fact, the heavy and enhanced versions leave you a good deal closer on block now. So you're looking at the older build of the game right now, and that frame advantage is lovely, but for heavy and enhanced phalanx, you couldn't do too much with it. Now, provided you're not like maximum range or something, right? Now for heavy and EX, you are in command grab distance. And you gotta put some respect on that, because she'll cave in the back of your head, right? So that is now scary, because you got all these plus frames, and again, they're more plus than they used to be, right? So they're more plus than they used to be, and now it's guess for your life. And keep in mind too, it's more plus, right? So now +3. So if you're trying to mash 4 framers, her jab target combo is just automatically gonna win. Or you'll trade with like stand medium punch and you can still get a little bit off of it, right? Like you still win the interaction. So basically for heavy and enhanced, just being able to threaten the grab adds a whole new layer of threat to the move. So that's just good. That's just good. Also, another buff for enhanced phalanx is they've shifted up the armor 1 extra frame, but they extended the total armor to 12 frames. So it used to be 7 frames of armor, now it's 12. So if you're just looking to like randomly do it to bulldog your way in, you literally have almost double the time to trigger an armor frame and just smash the enemy on the other end of things, right? So if you're just looking to go burr, this goes burr really hard. So not tons of changes, but these are all, in my opinion anyways, like really strong quality of life changes for Marisa. Now, Honda, everyone's single most anticipated character for patch changes, right? So Honda could have got more, but let's go into it because it's not nothing. So hands. So medium and heavy hands both got faster startups, and that changes a few things. So medium hands having a faster startup means it now combos from lights. So if you're looking for a light combo just using the hands and say you don't want the knockdown, you want to leave them standing with a couple plus frames, that's an option. Like, to be real, like butt slam's always going to be the best option off jabs, but that only works on standing people. Hands will work on anyone at any time. It also has the additional buff of, say the buff is live, right? If you do light hands, you're actually outside of jab range after the fact. If you used a medium, you are still in jab range. So it just gives you another option. And then heavy hands being a little faster also has an effect with the buff, because that means, say you use a clap, right? Clap and go in the hands. That naturally will combo off of heavy hands now. It did not before the patch. So if we have the buff live here, we can go like crouch light punch into clap into heavy hands and get all the more damage yet. It also will hit earlier on juggles and thus change the frame data of certain things. So say you launch them, heavy hands, dash forward twice, then stand medium punch will hit meaty. So now it'll be +8 instead of +6, because it's +6 normally, right? So better on block as well. So there's new Oki setups. If say you're in the corner, you do stomp to bounce them. Heavy hands will now combo, it didn't before. So basically there's some new Okazeme, some post knockdown pressure options that are new that didn't exist before, and some new combo options that didn't exist before. The one change I am very happy about, because this one I asked for from the start, is now buffed hands is not useless on block. So if the opponent blocks buffed hands, he will now do that last final hit when before he wouldn't. And that last final hit does a good chunk of drive gauge damage, and it changes the frame data. So now light hands is completely neutral on block. Medium hands is slightly negative. You don't want to do medium hands. Heavy hands, again, good chunk of drive gauge damage, also negative. But enhanced EX hands that are buffed, that's plus on block now. And that does almost a full drive gauge damage in and of itself. So basically, there's an option that didn't exist before. So that is good. So I'm not going to lie, wish the old boy got more, but he has to pay for the crimes of he made a bunch of streamers cry when the game came out. That's the Honda life, I guess, so take what you can get. Now, moving forward to Cammy, not a lot of changes, but interesting changes. So one, forward heavy kick. So forward heavy kick, at bare minimum, has a lot more frames of knockdown, but they also changed what we call the blowback effect. So now you can get some new things on it if you use it as a punish counter. So now on a punish counter, you can say go into spin knuckle, and it connects. Before it would just whiff, it just would go right through the enemy. And from there, with the big old launch, you can do things like, hey, a cannon spike, which also got changed a little bit to make sure it hits deep underneath the enemy rather than that weird thing where it'll meet them at the top then bounce off, just so you have better frame advantage. But thanks to this, you can basically do all sorts of new and interesting combos. So the button just has a lot more life added to it. And Cammy is getting the visual update that a lot of moves are getting, where if you're plus on block, you get the screen shake. So for Cammy, it's not just if you're plus, like that is plus there, right? What's going to happen now on hit or on block, because it's either way now, it's not just on block. If you hit it at like the maximum best kind of frame advantage, like as low to their toes as possible, the screen will shake to let you know you have the maximum amount of advantage. So on block, that's going to be about +5. You're hitting on the last active frame. On hit, you're going to be +11. So if you see the screen shake and it connects, you can be like, oh, I can go into like crouch heavy punch or stand heavy punch, and I know it's going to connect because I got the screen shake. Versus like a lot of other distances, you might connect, but it's not actually going to work. And if you go from like crouch heavy punch here and you're only +4 and they match, they're still going to win, right? So now if you see that screen shake, you can rest assured you just got the best combo possible. You just see the screen shake, you can just hit the button. There's no more like weird eyeballing it. So technically quality of life, but it informs you, the player, a great deal. And that's really about it. Cammy's in a good spot. So a little bit more utility on forward heavy kick and dive kick spam, which is what you're going to be doing anyways. You're now more informed on how well it's going for you. Now, every patch for Dhalsim gets like something new and like, to me, game changing, and it never seems to like unlock his true potential. And here we are again, and he's got some new big stuff, like some of the biggest stuff anyone's getting in this patch. And we'll see. Maybe it's the fact that he's just weird and Dhalsim that holds him back more than anything else, but let's get into it. So for one, Yoga Flame, Enhanced Yoga Flame, now recovers 5 frames faster, meaning you can get new combos you could not get before. Like ever since Yoga Blast got buffed, and that sort of became the go-to, right? So Jump Medium Punch got buffed, and it creates a combo OK state, and you can do a lot of your various air moves from it. So now I can do something like this. And that's an actual combo. That's like a very anime fighting game combo almost, right? Big air juggles is not usually Street Fighter, but then again, well, Dhalsim plays by a different rule set, right? So now you would just have tons of new combo options open and available to you. And that's not just off this, by the way. It's anytime you can land Jump Medium Punch ever. As long as they're in like any kind of juggle OK state, this all works. So you can just kind of get whatever you want. And you can do anything you want. So another example is cancel into float and just go for like a heavy kick. You can do it. Or float further out and then slap them down with float heavy punch. Another option. Or juggle them with yoga comment. Like whatever you want, right? There's so many more possibilities now open. So basically anytime you can juggle the opponent, you just have way more options than you did before. That's pretty okay. So for someone who's already one of the more stylish characters in the game, well, you got even more style yet. Moving on to Guile. Guile didn't get a lot, but Guile's also a character that can very easily and very quickly become the best character in the game if he's given enough. But let's talk about it. Special, cancelable, crouch, heavy punch? Yes, sir. So this move is now just special cancelable. It wasn't before. As far as combos and routings, because it's a heavy, you can probably use it in place of a few other things and just get a few more points of damage. So that's nice. File under a kind of a small change, but it's still a buff. Forward heavy punch to back knuckle now gains double the amount of super meter it does on hit than it did before. So just more incentive to do it. This one file under silly, but welcome. So the crouch medium kick target combo, the one that goes in the overhead, right? So now, if the first hit hits as a punish counter or a counter hit, they both do, and then it bounces the enemy. This is like a rainbow edition buff, but we'll take it. So it now bounces the enemy here, and if it bounces the enemy, you can get a flash kick after the fact. So if you're just going to randomly toss this out, build your charge anyways, and now if it just hits as a counter hit, which is very likely to do, that's certainly not like a rare situation, now the reward for it just got gigantic. Now here's the real interesting change. So he has Sonic Blade, right? And they added 2 versions of enhanced Sonic Blade. So if you just hit like light and medium together, it's the same one it's ever been. But now say you hit medium and heavy together, it actually travels very far. So the regular version, still the regular version, but now you have an alternate version that will like kind of travel in and of itself. And you can kind of like walk behind it and bully a little bit. So that's interesting. Like this could give them a whole new tool to play around with. Like in the moment, if you don't want to commit to it, you can still just turn it into a Sonic Boom anyways. So it's there. But if you just want to let it rock, you got one you can kind of, in perfect Guile fashion, slowly turtle behind and see what happens. So that's interesting. So not a lot of changes for Guile, because, you know, Guile's in a good spot. And, you know, he's a lot of characters' nightmare character to fight already. But some interesting new tools. Now Akuma. So Akuma is an interesting mix of buffs and nerfs. And I think it's very fair. So one stand medium punch now just has 2 more frames of recovery. A lot of characters, some of the more dominant mediums in the game, they just get a little bit more recovery. Perfectly okay. Now here's one. They changed how EX Adamant Flame works. So it can no longer naturally combo from crouch, medium, kick. They, in the patch notes, which are in the video description, kind of describe that he just got too much reward off this. Because it's completely safe on block, and like you get blown up if he just randomly toe taps you, and it's cheaper than the usual drive rush nonsense, right? So it was just kind of all upside. So that is no longer a natural combo, which once again I think is perfectly fair. Now let's get fun. So they totally changed up how his full charge fireballs work, and this is all versions including the enhanced version. So at bare minimum, it just does more damage. So it used to be 1200, is now 1350 across all versions. So more damage, that's nice. They also recover quite a bit faster. And yes, this does mean it changes how it works on block. So say point blank, on block, this is now plus 20. This used to be plus 5 on block. It is now plus 20 on block. So the number went up a little bit. Also, they do substantially more drive gauge damage as well. Before it was like a little bit. Now, since the move actually just does more raw hits, it just does more drive gauge damage. Now, to complement this change, Crouch Heavy Punch has more advantage on hit, which means if it hits as a punish counter, it will now naturally go into full charge EX Fireball. So now, we're cooking a little bit here. So now, more options exist than did before. That's nice. You can even use the buffed new Fireball to get some pretty high damage options. So yeah, it's a pretty good chunk of change, and breaking 7,000 for Akuma is not bad, right? So is this the be-all end-all? Like, he got some nerfs, he got some buffs, like... Giving Akuma buffs ever is a scary concept, but some interesting changes to be sure. Now, Lily. So Lily, like, to call it for what it is, like, she's not moving up the tier list, but she got fun changes. She got changes that let her play silly. So let's get into it. So for one, stand heavy punch is now 10 frames, just to make it aligned with crouch heavy punch, because why would you ever use stand heavy punch when you have crouch heavy punch? But now, at least, they're the same speed. So one of the interesting changes is, we talked about Guile, how different button presses change the EX move. She got the same kind of change. So Condor Spire, if you don't have the buff. If you do medium and heavies together, it's the same it's always been, right? So if we're roughly full screen here, okay, it takes you this far in medium punch distance. But if you do light and medium together, oh... we're a lot further away. We didn't go as far. And what's the point of this? Well, the point is, you know, from here, you have to block Condor Spire. But from here, oh, whoops. You tried the block and instead you got command grab. So it's like Papa T-Hawk in Street Fighter 4. You can do fake out Condor Spires in the grabs. It costs you meter. Hawk could do it for free, but take what you can get. Also, on top of this, they changed the recovery for the moves. So the move now recovers quicker, so that's good. Especially like if you're looking to scam people into command grab, you want faster recovery so they don't react in time, right? They also changed the blowback value, so it launches a little higher, and because you have a shorter range version of the move, you actually can do some combos that were not possible before. So say you hit them with a drive impact. So she has combos where she can like land on your head, forward heavy punch, like juggle you, right? Now with the shorter range EX Condor Spire, you can combo with that one where the other one would have missed, making for a much more interesting combo and one that does a lot more damage because you can nail a level 1 after the fact. So now there's new combo routing. And the change for the ranges also applies if you happen to have the buff live. So here's the normal EX Condor Spire with the buff, and you can see here it goes basically full screen. And if you use the short range EX version, okay, it's literally shorter range, right? So just like before, you can use it to fake people out, but it also has a very distinct buff over the traditional Condor Spire. So normally Lily 101 is like, get stock, Screamin', EX Spire, they block, you get drive reversed, because they're not going to take the mix up, right? That's just kind of how that works. But now, since you have multiple distances, you don't have to necessarily just take it. Like if they try to reverse it, you might not be committed to the full length of the Condor Spire you used to be. And now you can hit from distances where they can drive reverse all they want, and you'll land and block in time, and then you get a punish. So the old easy way to shut Lily down forever is not a guarantee anymore. So that actually is a pretty good buff, because then if they don't drive reverse, okay, let's do the strike through mix, like the whole point. But generally how it's always gone is, well, you do it and then just get off me, reset, because we're not risking it. But now they don't have that as an option that's guaranteed, because you can come in with a shorter range EX Condor Spire. So that is something. Also, the shorter range Spire has different frame advantage. 44 frames versus the more classical one, if you use it in the combo, ground, whatever, 56. Here's the thing. This gives her a safe jump. Now, wait a second. 44, that's not the safe jump number. That's 42. Yes, but keep in mind, Lily has a different jump than everybody else, right? She doesn't get the same options as everyone else. So since she has that slower jump, this plus 44, that's her safe jump stuff. And if they don't try to reverse, well then, hey, there you go, hit him with the toes. So this is options that are rare for her. She doesn't usually get stuff like this. And so that's like fundamentally solid play, I guess. Now let's get stupid with it. So Condor Dive got buffed. So you know how she can do the thing where you can do Tomahawk Buster and then follow up with the dive? What if we could do something a little crazier and then do a Tomahawk Buster, then do a dive, then do a dive? What? Yeah, no. That she has finally surpassed T-Hawk in one way. So she can do multiple Condor dives. It ain't free. You're going to need at least 2 stocks to do it. But after you do an EX dive that has the stock, you can just do another one and get a pretty tasty extra bit of damage at that. So say you catch someone tossing a projectile. The punish is now 3,000 damage. Like that's worth burning those stocks for. I always wanted her to have a reason to use stocks besides just expire. Now there's a reason. So if you're up against someone who tosses any amount of projectiles, they have to like be real careful, because you can just immediately instant dive on them and then burn only one, not 2, only 1 extra drive gauge, and then get the follow-up. And normally EX Spire does 1,600 damage, which isn't much, but this second Spire adds another 2 hits. And so now we're getting to like close to 3k, unless it's not a punish counter. And if it is a punish counter, then it is over 3k. That hurts really bad. And normally the counterplay to blocking a Spire is you block it, and you drive rush in and you punish counter it, right? Because it does move you a little further away. So like your traditional buttons would whiff. But now, if you see green, you just do it again. Oh, they're trying to drive rush me? Boom, get smoked. Like, you can mostly, I'm sure there's going to be a way around this because Lily sucks, but you can mostly keep it safe. So that's nice. So making Condor Dive a threat, I think, is very valuable for the character. Now, the caveat is, to make it real, you need 2 stocks, right? But that's the point of the character, is you build stocks. So once you build stocks, and all of a sudden, You just start screaming in, and then you see where it goes. So I think that's really cool. And again, the fact that it hurts bad. You do hit it with a punish counter, it's like 3,000-ish damage. Even if it's not, it's almost 3,000. Like, that's a good chunk of any character's health. So for Lily, like, again, she'll probably still be bad, but like, this change compared to some of the other changes where you hear me defeated in these videos, like, I just want to give up forever. These could be fun at the very least, even if it won't make her anything in the bottom tier. These can be fun. Okay, JP, one of the top tier terrors of the game. Surely he's nerfed to the ground, right? Well, actually, he might be better. He might actually be better now. Because he got some nerfs, but he also got a gigantic, like, game-changing buff. So let's talk the small stuff first. So one, stand heavy kick. His big, huge plus on block kick that starts combos. Well, it still does all that, but now you just lose a little bit less meter if you block it. Oh well. Same thing with the target combo. It's not like it's unsafe or anything. It's still plenty safe. But now the target combo also drains less on block. But don't worry, it's still over half a bar. Crouch, medium punch. The hurt box, this is like many other moves that we talked about already. The hurt box now lingers till the end of the move, ideally making it somewhat feasible to whiff punish it. We'll see. It's still only 14 frames of recovery. And yes, if you saw the previous video, he is now pushed out of the corner when he throws you. That is not to say he doesn't have a throw loop. He still has a throw loop. Like, he'll dash forward, and when he dashes forward after forward throw, he's +1. So he has some advantage over you. Now to note, in this game specifically, if an attack and a throw hit on the same frame, the attack will win. Because he's only +1, he will lose to wake up buttons, specifically. But then again, part of this kind of throw loop is, hey, I might actually hit a button, right? And at which point, he will win. So it's definitely been downgraded in power as far as throw loops go. But since he's pushed out, some of the other nonsense he can do, like force you to wake up in a pillar, and at which point he would actually be +1 and still in front of your face. And because it's a projectile, you couldn't do wake up super or something like that. Like, you can't do that. And he can't set up portal, throw you into the thing, and still get the hit. And he still gets the hit, but you can't just like do stand heavy and get the combo. Unless you're a big character, because don't worry, this is still Street Fighter, and we punish characters for being big in this game. So big characters still got to eat crap. But for the privileged, beautiful people with skinny waists, they don't got to worry about that. So his corner throw game is definitely nerfed. It's definitely worse off, but here's the buff. So when he has Departure up, the portal, he can manually detonate it. He always could, right? And if a move is special cancelable, he can like take that move and then when it connects, do the manual detonation. The thing is, he can now detonate off moves that are not special cancelable normally. And there's a couple of offenders, but stand medium punch and crouch medium kick are two of the biggest offenders. So now I can do this, hit you with crouch medium kick and immediately detonate, and it works. It's a combo. Even worse, it's plus on block, and heavily plus on block at that. Before, effectively for JP, unless you're doing it off the back of a drive rush, the crouch medium kick is the reward in and of itself, right? He's not meant to have strong lows. And now, he has strong lows. Because he can turn any crouch medium kick into a juggle and just, yeah! Like, say he has Departure up. One of the things he would do is drive rush at him, right? And now, because he can check you with this gigantic stand medium punch to check you on your drive rush, he can see you do it. Like, did they turn green? Cool, I'm just going to hit the button. You're got. And JP is JP, so, like, it's game over. Like, so being able to detonate portals off not special cancelable moves, especially two of the better moves that he has, like normals he's going to want to use regardless, just ups the threat to a ridiculous amount. So he ate some nerfs, yes. He is arguably better off than he was. Like, losing the throw in the corner, sure, it hurts. Getting stronger neutral, the thing he's already, like, debatably the best character in the game at, probably worth it in my books. So your mileage may vary, but interesting changes for JP to say the least. Next up is Manon, and Manon is another low tier hero that never quite gets what she needs. And in fact, she ate a decent sized nerf as well. But, well, let's talk about it. The nerf first, heavy kick. So heavy kick is one of her best attributes, actually. Just this gigantic, normal, big boot. Does a lot of drive gauge damage as well. And, you know, you could whiff punish it if you could, but it almost never whiffed. Just like we talked about earlier in the video. If you could be hit by it while you're walking backwards, you just would be, because it would stop your movement dead. Now, it basically will not stop your movement until it actually hits. So you actually have a chance to walk out of the range of the move now, and thus whiff punish it, when before your chances were quite low. Now, we do have a change here for the positive. Her cortical back heavy kick, the jaguar kick as I call it. So this now leaves you quite a bit closer. So here we're going to do a side-by-side comparison, and you can see here the opponent is a good amount closer than before. So you can kind of threaten them with buttons to use your advantage frames. It's not huge, but at least they're close enough that you can bully them in a way that was a bit more difficult than it was before. Also, like some other characters mentioned earlier in the video, she has her back medium kick string. And if it hits as a counter hit or better, both hits count as the counter hit now. And if it is, and keep in mind this move is pretty delayable, right? So you can see it hit, then just keep going. And if you get the counter hit, then you can combo into the light hit grab and you get a medal for your troubles. Before, didn't quite work this way, because normally the second hit would just hit as the second hit, and that cannot combo. But because it has the additional frames, because it still counts as a counter, it lets you build a medal. This move is pretty okay as it is, and again, it's heavily delayable, so you can just toss it out and fish and see what happens. And heavy punch, the target combo, the one that has like the vacuum property so you can bring people in and mix them. This now works on airborne foes. They gave it a juggle property. So however you manage to juggle the foe, you can now just hit them in the air twice with the HP. You still get some damage, and it just brings you in. Ideally, Manon's supposed to be like the master of the strike throw mix, right? And now, okay, you're in, and I'm like plus 10. So am I going to strike you, or am I going to hit you with a command grab, gain more medals? Like, this is pretty okay. And you don't need the extended drive rush combos or whatever. Like, it just works. So you now have an option to just force more mix. And that's the name of the character. So other than stand heavy kick, I guess she's better. But is it what she needed? Not really. But again, repeat with me, folks, here. You take what you can get. So Juri is very interesting in that she got some more combo ability on EX Fujihan. How much? Well, about that much, in fact. It turns out it's a great juggle starter now, and some other moves have been tweaked to be better with juggles on top of the move just causing better juggles to begin with. Like, say, forward and medium punch. Now has juggle points, so you can use that to juggle after the fact. They won't flip out anymore like they would. So before, this would either whiff or just cause them to flip out, and now you can juggle them and just kind of keep going. Or you can launch them and use back heavy kick if you want a bit more damage. Even light pinwheel. So the blowback on pinwheel has been raised up a little bit. So then say we use it with our conjunction of other buffs here. So we'll launch them for medium punch pinwheel. And then, oh, because it's been relaxed as well, we can even get an EX pinwheel follow-up after the fact. So just kind of everything about EX Fujihan is just a lot more available for any combo stuff you can dream up. Also, for people who had put any amount of time in the Juri, this has always been difficult. Light pinwheel, you can do stuff like cancel in level 3, but the timing was always very strict. And now they made it easier. So they added a 4-frame window at the end of the move to cancel in the supers that wasn't there already. So it's literally just that much easier to go into a level 3 or whatever you want to go into. Now, how about Enken Satsu? That's the Quarter-Circle Forward series. So specifically the medium version, they changed it up. So just like Chun Li had Hazanshu buffed, this is like, she's always been sort of like a mirror Chun Li, right? So this is getting buffed as well. So it's better on block for one. So it used to be -10 is now -8. And if you space it, then because it is already less negative already, then all the better yet. Has more pushback on block too. They want you to use this move raw. Because like if this is -6 from this distance, -6 doesn't matter, right? So use it as a spacing tool, use it as a neutral tool is what they're trying to say. The hurt box on the move has also been shrunk, so she's less likely to get poked out of it. They want you to just use the move raw. And like if you have a buff, sure, all the better yet. Also, if you hit on the first active frame, it's normal, but if you hit on the later active frames, it splats the enemy just like Chun Li. So you can just dash forward and then do some pressure, do some Oki after the fact. Also, if you have the buff live, if you do it now in the middle of a combo where they're airborne, it bounces the enemy. It did not bounce them before. Meaning, in combos, you can do this, and because it bounces, they'll now be airborne to get hit by the level 3. Before, they'd just be flat on the ground, level 3 would completely whiff. So, these are not like wild changes to her combos and combo structure, but this is all stuff she just did not have before. And it's all strictly beneficial for her. The only nerf is forward heavy punch, just like many other dominant neutral buttons in this patch. They added 3 more frames of recovery. The hurt box on the end of it is there till the end of the move, so it's just easier to whiff punish. But like this move, if you whiffed with it, that's kind of your fault, to be real. So like all things told, I think that's very fair, and it's kind of smiles and sunshine for Juri in this patch. Now it's time for Dee Jay. Dee Jay's got a couple of interesting changes, not the least of which is Crouch Medium Punch is now +5 on hit, used to be +4. So this means a couple things. One, it now will naturally go into Stand Light Kick, which is 5 frames. And then that goes into Heavy Leg Slicer, and that's immediately like Guest Strike Throw, right? So that's good in and of itself. And also, because it's just 1 more frame advantage, that means it naturally goes into medium machine gun uppercut. So before, that wouldn't have been possible, and now it is. So if you're just looking for like raw damage, hey, something as basic as Crouch Heavy Punch goes in the Crouch Medium Punch, which now goes into that, and that's pretty okay damage, considering that's just a 3-hit combo, effectively. Keeping with Machine Gun Uppercut, Enhanced Machine Gun Uppercut now starts 2 frames faster. And that means it combos from Stand Heavy Punch now. So if you're doing like whatever into a Drive Rush, this is all a natural combo now. So it's a good little way to get some extra value off a move you can't do too often. Okay, so that's good. That's all fundamentally sound. Where's the weirdness? Dee Jay's a little weird, right? Well, we got weird for you. So you know he has a sway, right? And he can like do various weird, like sway, 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 like cancel all these weird directions. So now like things like his leg slicer, all that, you can now do all the various dodges and still get your sway attacks from it. So now when you sway, cancel, cancel, you can still go for a leg slicer. You can still go for an overhead. Like people, once this starts happening, people start acting weird because like, what's going on? They're going to start hitting buttons. And now you can punish them for hitting buttons. Keep in mind, all these various moves have very strong punish counters attached to them, right? So if you just randomly catch some random button while people are panicking because you're just moving everywhere like a crazy person, that's great. Like Dee Jay needs to play a little crazy. And with this, you get to play a little crazy. So he doesn't have a lot of changes. Like Dee Jay is one of the most fundamentally sound characters in the game as it stands. But you get more combo damage and you get a little bit of fun by just zip zap zooping everywhere and doing your leg slicer moves. So Blanka, another top tier terror. Does he got nerfs? Yes, but he also got a couple buffs. Now the buffs, well, let's get into it. How about Stand Medium Kick? It's now +5 on hit. So it did not used to be, but it does allow some shenanigans. Say if it hits as a counter hit, now it's +7. So you can go right into Coward Crouch and launch and get combos from it. So just another tool in the toolbox to be used. Also speaking of counter hit, Crouch Heavy Punch now knocks down on counter hit versus leaving the opponent standing. It's not quite the punish counter that sends them flying across the screen, but if it hits specifically as a counter, you get a knockdown, you get a good amount of frame advantage. You do something like light Blanka ball, make up most of the space even if they back roll, so be heavily plus in their face. So, okay, that works. Forward Heavy Punch, the overhead, now just has more knockdown. So it is now +27. Since it's very easy for it to hit on the later active frames, it'll up the numbers a little bit. At which point you can just kind of hop and then have some advantage frames in their face and do the usual. Now here's a sizable nerf, Hop. Hop is no longer throw invulnerable. So if you try to hop shenanigan your way, like, you know, I'm just going to hit normals and then hop, you're gonna get grabbed now. So this technically isn't a nerf to solid fundamental play, but you're not playing Blanka for solid fundamental play, let's be real. So if you're here to gimmick people out, it is now harder to gimmick people out with hops. So that is definitely a nerf. Another nerf is to Blanka balls, but only in the install. So Blanka ball always did like a lot of drive gauge damage. Light and medium did like most of a bar. Heavy did a full bar. But if you had the lightning buff up, these now do a lot less. They still do a lot compared to the average character, but they definitely are not doing as much as they used to. The idea being, once you're in Lightning Beast, like, you are already massively advantaged. You have to force the enemy to be very defensive. The logic being, you're already winning, basically. So we're not going to rip all their meter away from them, too. So I think that's very fair. But now here's the big nerf. Blanka-chan, our buddy. So while he's out, it's the same as it's ever been, right? You get hit, you get hit. But now if he's out and he's active, like he's doing what he's got to do, if Blanka gets hit while the Blanka-chan is active, Blanka-chan goes away now. Like, say I'm going to do a jump attack. Normally, I would land on the Blanka-chan because that's how that works. And instead, I hit Blanka, Dhaal goes away. So now you have some defense, some recourse. Because the whole issue with Blanka a lot of time was you could hit him, sure. And then Blanka-chan comes and hits you. And then didn't work out in your favor, really, right? So now, if you can actually just smack him, even if it's like a little jab, right? There is now better risk reward for the defender in these situations. So some of the greasier aspects of the character definitely curtailed a bit, but then again, somewhat fairly, I would say. That stuff is sort of cheap. And Blanka's still great. Again, all these top tier characters, and we still got more to come. We haven't talked about Mai yet. They got nerfed, but are they still top tiers in the end? More than likely. Moving on to Rashid. Rashid got a change I'm sure will make a lot of people happy. In that medium spinning mixer is just literally a better anti-air. They added 4 more frames of anti-air and vulnerability to the move, meaning it's just better at doing its actual job, which is kind of what you wanted, right? So, hey, great. They also changed some of the juggle leniency on his heavy kick punish counter. So now you can do some fun things. Like, hey, you can hit forward medium punch. That would just straight up whiff before. And now you can get some extra follow-ups. Or you can go into like Eagle Spike because they just have so much more time in the air, you can actually juggle it. Or if you're looking to get silly, you can add some drive rushes. Like, you just have a lot of options now that you just did not have before. So that's great for the utility of the move. Now we got a lot of changes to EX Tornado. So one, the blowback's been changed so they're just a little bit closer to you. Also another change, the held version is now faster. So they shaved 3 frames off the startup. So the move just comes out that much quicker. And they did something a little naughty here. So Cyclone. Cyclone's cool because it has like the roll follow-up or like the air dash follow-up, if you will. They added those to charge Tornado. So just hit forward or back and kick when you do charge Tornado. And as the Tornado releases, you will do the forward roll or the air dash, just like from the Cyclone. So this gives you a lot more utility. And to say the least, now they got silly changes. You can do some silly stuff with it, is what I'm trying to say. So mess around with it. You got a lot more freeform offense to work with. He doesn't have much else. Like that's basically it in the way of changes, but I think that's pretty impressive as it is. Moving to Aki, some of the changes are small on paper, but at least one of them I think fundamentally changes the character as a whole. So obviously Aki, the whole deal is apply poison, detonate poison, right? So one of the things that changed is when you detonate poison, all the moves that detonate poison now gain double the amount of drive gauge. So I have an example here, and I'll just do a little picture in picture. So it's not like a whole bar in and of itself or anything, right? But it's enough. You get substantial amounts out of this. Now, to note here, you cannot get these if the opponent is like in a drive rush combo. It can only be done by regular EXs. So you're probably heavily incentivized to focus more on EXs in your combos than just doing drive rush, so you can get a bigger refund on your drive gauge, because that's not nothing. Also a nice change is her light target combo. This guy here can now chain from crouch light. So you can go like crouch light kick, crouch light punch, and then just make that all one combo. And not only are you adding just a little bit more damage to all your combo structure, you can make sure you're always right beside the enemy because the second hit moves you forward. But you can always make sure you're just right beside the enemy because it moves you forward, that you can get the heavy version of Serpent Lash, and it'll just never whiff. It's difficult to make it whiff most of the time realistically, but you never want to risk it, right? And now, literally do more damage and always get the ender you want. Sure. Also, enhanced projectile. They changed some of the juggle points on the move, so if people just like jump into it, it's just easier to get like medium Serpent Lash even from like just about full screen and get some extra damage. It's not something that would happen a lot, but take free damage where you can get it. And not least of which, with that new change, you're getting that much more drive meter back, right? Because you're detonating the poison, so why not? So bare minimum, just like basic B&Bs will just do that much more damage because you're getting extra hits in, a little bit more reliable. So the changes aren't gigantic for Aki, but they're all just solid quality of life, and you may want to rethink a lot of your combo routes. And another top tier villain. Is he nerfed to the ground and unplayable? Nah, he's still one of the best characters in the game, but let's talk about it. So 1, crouch medium kick. That's the big old punch in the head, right? So 2 frames more recovery. So it used to be 17, now it's 19. So it's just a little bit easier to whiff punish. And the hurt box on it also stays until the end of the move. So ideally, whiff punishing the move should be feasible. Crouch heavy kick, another big punch. 2 frames more recovery. Now -1 on hit and -6 on block. EX flicker, one of the best moves in the game. Now scales the combo slightly more. It used to be 15%, now scales combos by 20%. So the combos are still the combos, they just will do a little bit less damage. Here's one I feel they do like every single patch. So while the super is active, Ed will gain less meter than he did before. Like, they do this all the time, they're doing it again. Eventually they'll just say he can't gain meter while Super 2 is active. So, like all the other top tiers, when there's nerfs, they got to give him a buff. So now, his Kill Rush, the forward stance, crouch, heavy kick, heavy punch target combo, can now directly go into it. And naturally, that means new combo shenanigans are to be found. So there's going to be new routing, new stuff to be discovered. Again, none of the top tiers are getting a nerf without something being added in their favor. And Ed's another one of those. But for a character that just won Capcom Cup and a lot of people consider dominant in the game, you'd expect more, but that's about it. Keeping the train moving along. Bison doesn't have many change, although it's interesting. So now, Back Fist Detonate. So Back Fist Detonate, if you use it here, it is now +9 on block. The idea here is they kind of wanted you to use something besides Cycle Crusher because it felt dominant. So now it has definitively more frame advantage. So you can just kind of mess around with it. Because before it did, but before it was also +6. And like that's just a frame +9, bigger number. So we'll see, we'll see. Keeping on Detonate now, Medium Back Fist has a new special launch. And you can do things like combo from sweep. Go into like a level 1 knee press nightmare. So now, okay, if we can only get the medium detonate here, that's not bad. I mean, minimum is sweep, more juggle points, more damage. If you can get a super, you also get level 2. We're going to talk about level 2. Just more utility. Devil's reverse forward movement has been nerfed a little bit. Just specifically because it was way too easy given the mobility it gave Bison, like cross people up and force uppercuts and anti-air moves to whiff against their will. Like here's an example from before the patch. And now, not so much. It's not that he's losing mobility because he's still one of the most mobile characters in the game, but that's just confusing to defenders in a way they did not like, so tone it down. Now we talked about the level 2. Psycho Punisher is now faster start up for 1, so it can combo save from back heavy kick. So say you're doing like whatever combo, this now will be a part of the combo. You can end validly on level 2. So that gives more utility to the move because as the faster startup, it allows for that. Also, you can hold back because you're allowed to aim the move as it were, right? You can hold back and Bison will be almost immobile. So people who like cross under him while he's doing it, it's meant to help curtail that. And since it's faster startup, it's just better to use as a punish tool. So just more utility. Works in combos that didn't work in before, and it's better as a gotcha move, which is part of its intended design. So that's really, really solid. And that's it. So Bison's definitely been up and down since his launch. And I think they're okay with just giving some small, nice little bonuses, but they don't need them running the game. Terry, like many of the DLC characters, doesn't have many changes, but the changes there are cool. Although there's a nerf, but it doesn't matter. Crouch Medium Punch has 1 more frame of recovery. Who cares? Like, really? Does he feel nerfed? No. Light Crack Shoot. So given the prevalence of the Crack Shoot burnout loop, and now people who are specifically in burnout, it'll now push out a bit more than it did before. So ideally, he won't have you on lockdown forever, but we'll see. Round Wave, that's the heavy power wave. So it pushes back less now on hit. So I got a comparison here with the previous build of the game. And you can see here, the opponent is just ever so slightly closer to Terry than from before. To the point in the older build, I couldn't say hit Crouch Medium Punch because they're pushed out too far. In the current build, rest assured, not an issue. I can hit Crouch Medium Punch. They are just a lot closer to me than they used to be. So that's really, really strong. And now keeping with the fun stuff here. So you may know that Terry, Heavy Shoulder, has the fun gimmick where you can cancel it into like a move, right? And there's like some sweet spot timings where I'm bad at it, but some sweet spot timings where you can get extra hits and all that kind of stuff. They decided to apply that to EX Shoulder. So you can now cancel EX Shoulder at any point after it hits. And now you can do a lot of weird stuff with it. Like, hey, going to burn knuckle, I can do a side switch combo now if I'm stuck in the corner. Because I cancel my recovery of EX Shoulder. In the burn knuckle, they go flying over my head. Give him a tap on the other way, and Bob's your uncle, right? Like, so that's really interesting. Like, you can just do a lot of weird things with it because you're just canceling the recovery of the move. You don't got to stress it, right? Like, normally if you did it in the corner, they would just bounce out. Now you can cancel it, and they stay put. In fact, right there, if you do Light Crack Shoot after the EX Shoulder, that's plus 23. Overhead's 22 frames. So now, all of a sudden, you just created a meaty overhead setup, 4 frames advantage. You can hit a jab after the fact. And there you go, right? Like, you can just do a lot of interesting things you just could not do before. This is one of the ones where, like, I feel people are going to have to play around with it a lot. Because a lot is going to be possible thanks to this change. So Terry's laughing to the bank. Okay, here we are. The villain of villains, right? So is Mai nerfed to garbage? Nah. No, she's still plenty okay. Now, the nerfs are there. Like, the big one is Charge Fan. So Charge Fan ate a pretty sizable nerf in that everything about Charge Fan is just more negative. Like, before, full Charge Fan in your face would only be -1. Now it's -5. It's punishable, straight up. Everything about the Charge Fan toss, just the numbers are worse. She has more recovery. So to read it as it's written here, recovery time on normal fan charge is changed from 62 to 64 frames. So worse recovery. Knockback time on hit or on block from falling fans is reduced by 5 frames. And knockback time on the normal version's first attack is reduced by 2 frames. So like basically everything about fans is reduced. But keep in mind, they're still gonna fall on your head. They're still really good. And ain't nothing about the boosted Kachosen, like the flame buff version, ain't nothing about those has changed. Those are as good as they've ever been. So they really want her in the buff. So another thing that's changed is on Ninja Bees, they changed the pushback. Honestly, in my testing, it's almost imperceptible, so I'll just take their word for it, but I'm not seeing it myself. Another change now that she had some nerfs, got to give them some buffs, right? So Light Ryuenbu now has more range and also deals more guard gauge damage, more drive gauge damage on block, because now they want to incentivize you using this as a poke in and of itself. So here you're looking at the older build, and from like round 1 fight, 2 Ryuenbus do not hit. But here in the current build of the game, it does. The hitbox buff is very small, but it's enough for that to hit. And so you do it, you get more reward. If you happen to hit as a punish counter, it'll drain more drive gauge than it did before by a pretty significant amount, almost double the amount. So they want you to use this as a poke more. The only problem with that is you still have stand heavy punch. So you gotta buff it a bit more if you want me to use that over stand heavy punch, but baby steps. Now another buff for Mai, which you could argue is somewhat significant, is heavy Ryuenbu. So they changed the blowback on it so it launches higher. So in cases where you say you get stand heavy kick punish counter. This combo was not possible before, and it ends with a buff. And if it's mid-screen, ends with the buff in the corner, which is kind of everything Mai would ever want, right? So it makes the old boot a lot more valuable that you can get this combo structure. And then speaking of the buff, so now heavy Ryuenbu is 1 frame faster. So if you are doing normally, it's 15 frames. If you have the buff live, it's 14 frames. What does that matter? Like, you know, faster is better, sure. What it matters is it combos from stand jab now. So now if you can get like the most basic nothing light hit confirm, you can get some tasty damage off that, right? Like you're burning some stocks, but you know, take the damage when you got it. So yeah, Mai's getting buffed. So yes, the demon of fans, everything about the fan other than the fact it still bounces is a little bit worse. That's the pain point with the character. So that is going to be more survivable, but you know, it's still not free to get around. And other aspects of Mai have been buffed. And now we're finally here at Elena. Congratulations to Elena for getting beat up the whole video. But I paid money for this DLC costume, so I'm going to get my money's worth. Her buffs, they're quite small. There's not many, but they're interesting. So heavy Rhino Horn, the change here is the blowback's a little higher, which means she can now barely squeak by a level 1 after the fact. Just overall upping your damage potential. Okay, so combo's a little bit better. And say if you use level 1 before you use Rhino Horn in the corner, the change here is you can now do EX Rhino Horn after the fact. So heavy Rhino Horn goes into level 1, and level 1 will go into EX Rhino Horn. So basically you're just doing more damage in a lot of situations. Okay, that's pretty cool. And the level 2 has been changed, healing. So healing now heals a full drive gauge. So that's great. And on top of healing a full drive gauge, which kind of makes it valuable in and of itself, it also heals even more. So here's a before and after here. And it's not a lot more. Like the drive gauge is like the real value here. But healing heals more. Healing is better. It's not the boogeyman it was in Street Fighter 4 to be sure. But yeah, you keep buffing healing up and maybe it will be in the end. But that's about it for Elena. There's not a lot of changes, basically quality of life. Sagat's a newer character and he's already proven to, you know, be one of the best characters in the game. And if you thought he's getting nerfed, think again. Crouch medium punch, 2 more frames of recovery. That's it. Oh well, who cares? I don't. And he did get a quality of life buff in that stand light kick. Now knocks the opponent not as far away. So the idea is, as long as you're not hitting like a detached limb, it'll always combo into medium uppercut now. So if you toss it out like a punish or whatever, it should always connect now. Versus before at extreme ranges, you could kick them, tap them in their toes, and that would push them out of the range of the uppercut, and then you would whiff. Now it should be uniform as long as you're hitting the main body, and that's it. That's all. Next character. Now Viper, she's newer than Sagat. and not as dominant as Sagat, to be sure. She's got a lot more to prove, right? And they gave her some pretty good stuff. Like one which seems boring on its face. Stand Heavy Punch is now 1 frame better on block. So it used to be -3, now -2. Oh well, who cares? But keep in mind, Viper's Viper. She has different rules than everyone else. So if you do Heavy Punch, Super Jump cancel the Heavy Punch, then do Thunder Knuckle, and then cancel the Thunder Knuckle, that Heavy Punch that was -2 on block now becomes +1 on block. Before this patch, it would have been neutral on block. And neutral's not bad, but just being plus in the enemy's face, that is better, to say the least. So that's not bad at all. Just an easy source of plus frames, fantastic. And the fact if it hits, it's +6. So if it connect, you got a combo. And if it is blocked, it's your turn. Like, that's pretty big in my books. Also, more plus frames. So super jump into immediate burn kick, light kick, or burn kick, medium kick. These are now +1 on block. So you have to get the sweet spot where you fall right away. So you got to work on your timing just a little bit. But this is a forward advancing move that's plus on block. And if you happen to say hit in a later active frame, like you're further out, then it's just wildly more advantage on block. So these can crush lows. These are good. If they block, it's your turn. There's a lot to like here. Like, yes, surely these are not free to do. This costs you a drive gauge each time, but that's really, really, really good. Also good quality of life, Crouch Medium Punch has just 1 more active frame. So if you're using to like check a drive rush or something, just being out 1 more active frame, well, it's 1 frame longer. So your chances are increased of checking someone who's spamming drive rush. So that's nice. Another change, which is great for technical Viper players, is Heavy Kick. So Heavy Kick by itself is sort of whatever, but you can use it in certain juggles. Like say you're doing Seismo, Super Jump Cancel, and the Burn Kick, and you pop them, and then you can use Heavy Kick. And that Heavy Kick will bop them to the ground, right? And you can do a few follow-ups with that, like the Heavy Kick. You can then Super Jump to cancel the Heavy Kick, and then turn that to EX Burn Kick. And when you spike them down to the ground, the bounce is just a little bit longer, so you have more time to lay it and then get the actual combo. And let me tell you, I hate this combo. I'm surprised I got that first try. There's no editing here. I hate this combo a lot. But the fact that you're allowed to delay it a little bit makes it so much easier, because most of the time you'll just super jump into nothing, or just screw it up, and that makes it a lot better and a lot more reasonable to do in the real match. So for Viper, it's quality of life across the board. And that is the patch video. So we went through every character in the game. Some people got more, some people got less, some people should have got more buffs, some people should have got more nerfs, but well, that's just how fighting games worked, isn't it? So till next time, we'll see you again come the Ingrid patch, and hopefully we'll have a lot of fun changes then. If you made it to the end, if you could leave a like, it would be greatly appreciated. I haven't slept in over a day because I've been making this video. It takes a while, so likes appreciated. And overall, like most patches, it's a good patch. It's just maybe not the most exciting patch. But then again, we get exciting patches. Look at Tekken 8 Season 3. A lot of people not happy about that. So maybe that's why they do it that way. I don't know. But I do hope they shake things up in the future. But that said, my friends, that's it for this video, and that's it for me. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Street Fighter.